Hello everybody, welcome back to Zdenek's English podcast, the best English learning podcast since sliced bread. My name is Zdenek Lucas and I'm an English teacher, and this is an English learning podcast, which means it's a podcast for all English learners from all around the world. And what am I doing today? Well, as you can see, I'm doing it in a different way. I'm actually recording this episode in two different ways. First of all, I am using a selfie stick and my mobile phone to record this as an video podcast, as a YouTube video on the Teacher Zdenek YouTube channel. But as well as that, I'm using a backup. I have got a Rode microphone attached to my t-shirt here, and then there's a dictaphone on my bicycle. I don't know if we will be able to see it. There's a dictaphone on my bicycle, and the Rode microphone is plugged into that dictaphone. And I'm doing this because I think the audio will be better if I actually use it for this video as well. So I have to put it all together, and also it's kind of a backup if one of these things fails, because it is currently 35 degrees Celsius here in the Czech Republic, which means it's pretty hot, and I'm going to be riding my bike with a selfie stick like this. I'm gonna ride my bike, and in this scorching hot weather, which might be a bit awkward, a bit tricky, but generally speaking, I'm not a clumsy person, so I should be able to handle it. All I have to do is hold on to my handlebar, only one of them, because the other one will be, the other hand will be for my selfie stick. So let's see if I manage it, and let's go. So now, for those of you who are not watching this, for those of you who are only listening, I am on my bicycle riding through my village, which is located near Poděbrady, and where I have currently been spending my summer. I would like to say summer holiday, but it's not exactly a summer holiday, is it? Because I'm an English teacher, I'm a freelance English teacher, a digital nomad living in Asia. So whenever I come back here to the Czech Republic, which I generally tend to do for a summer these days, I can't say that it's my holiday, because I work every day, almost every day, right? So it's not exactly a summer holiday, but it's definitely a summer. And yeah, so I'm here for about 2 months, and I'm recording this podcast episode right in the middle of my stay here, let's say. So it is currently, what is it, August? Yeah, I think about the 12th of August or something like that. And yeah, I have to say, it's been great here. As far as the weather goes, this is actually an anomaly for this summer. Such hot weather, 35 degrees Celsius. It's not what I've been getting here until actually this week. Yeah, because it was quite cold in July. It was actually surprisingly cold. I think nobody expected that here in Europe, because now we have what's called global warming, right? So this is not what you would expect. You would think that the temperatures go up when there is global warming, but what it does to us, to our planet, as far as I understand it from what the scientists and experts say, is that it actually brings extreme weather, right? So there will be low and high extremes, and also some natural disasters and this kind of stuff in the future. So there's a lot to look forward to if you are a cynic, which obviously I am a little bit. I can't hide it. But I don't want this episode of Zdenek's English podcast to be negative and cynical, not at all. After all, I said this is the best English learning podcast since sliced bread, so I have to live up to it. In this episode of Zdenek's English podcast, which, as you can see, took its name after my name, Zdenek's English podcast. See what I did there? Yes. In this episode, I'd like to talk about my Vietnamese episode number 2.
Hi, I'm Helen. I like the Achievers Chamber because it's a nice place where I can learn in a friendly and supportive atmosphere.
For more information about the Achievers Chamber, go to teacherzdenek.com.
First time I went to Vietnam back in, I believe it was 2003, I think it was at the end of 2002, so it was December 2002. And then 2003 I spent in Vietnam. I lived there in the town or city, I think it's a city, called Da Nang, which is a coastal city and a lovely place to be in Vietnam, of course. Then I didn't go anywhere the entire summer, and then I came back the next summer, right, for the first time. And then after that was last summer, by the way. And after that, I went to Vietnam again, and that's what I want to talk about today. It's episode 2 of my Vietnamese adventure, let's say. Let's call it The Return. The Return sounds a little bit like that episode of the Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? The Return of the King. Do you know that one? I think it was the third film of the series, right? Of the trilogy and the book as well. I think I want to do this episode because it's always nice to sort of look back at what you have experienced, look at the things that went right and look at the things that went wrong. And there's a nice English phrase you can use, ladies and gentlemen, and it's to take stock. You can take stock, you can sort of evaluate the entire experience and see what you can do better perhaps next time, and learn from your mistakes as well, and also appreciate what went right and sort of be proud of that, if anything went right this time. To be fair, I think I'm going to give this second episode of my Vietnamese adventure 6 out of 10, which might not seem too overwhelmingly high, right? It might not seem too high. I think it's bang average, if I'm honest. And the reason for this is because after this clause, the reason is, sometimes I say because by mistake, because we use because for giving reasons, but actually if you want to follow it by a clause, it's more correct to say that. So the reason for this is that I don't think it was that special, and a few things went right, but several things went wrong as well. By the way, if you're struggling to hear me right now, if the sound is a bit worse, that's because there's actually a tractor. It's right in my way now. You will be able to see it here, right behind me, and it's making a lot of noise. Yeah, I guess it's doing its job, so I shouldn't complain too much. I think I'm the one who is doing something weird here in a village, because what a tractor does is that it plows the field here, as you can see, right? It's actually done a lot of job already. I say it, there's a person sitting in that tractor, of course, because that's what is done generally, right, in a village. And it's agriculture, isn't it? The crops need to be grown, the fields need to be looked after when the harvest is finished. And I think that's what's happening here. They finished the harvest and now they're plowing the field, preparing it for the winter season. The winter season sounds a bit weird. Is it really? Is it really what you should do in the middle of summer? I honestly don't know. I'm not an agriculture expert. I'm an English teacher expert. So hopefully that's what I'm doing here, right? At least something, right? You can't know it all, can you? Yeah, so like I said, 6 out of 10. And I'm gonna talk about this adventure in Vietnam. And yeah, but because I would like to learn from my mistakes, I would like to think about how I can do better next time. Because, you know, if you don't do that, you will be stuck in a rut. And it's much better to open your mind, you know, to evaluate, to restart some new routines, maybe quit some bad ones. And after all, that's what matters, doesn't it? If you want to develop, self-develop. Yeah, so good stuff, bad stuff, ups and downs. I guess the biggest highlight, let's start from that. Let's start in a positive way. The highlight of the entire adventure was that I finally plucked up the courage and managed to ride a motorbike in Vietnam. I rented a motorbike called Honda Wave, for those of you who understand these little vehicles, motorbikes. Honda Wave. It's a small motorbike. I think it's 115 cc, cubic centimeters, something like that, because that's what I have a license for. I wanted something small, and it's easier to control anyway. There's another tractor here, ladies and gentlemen. There's tractors here all over the place. Can you see it? Yeah, so that was definitely a highlight. Of course, I was more comfortable than I thought I would be. It's all in the head, you know. When you have some, let's say, mental blocks, right? All of us have something like that, some anxiety problems regarding certain things that you know you should do, but you keep postponing the decision, you keep procrastinating. That's one of the things I've been struggling with as far as my sort of experience riding and driving went. Yeah, unfortunately, because I didn't really do this much when I was young, and I didn't exactly have a father that would teach me how to do this, and that's partially the problem, but it's also my excuses, right? So yeah, it's good to do it even in my middle age now. It's you know, better late than never. So I finally managed to conquer my fears, and I rented a motorbike, and I think I did really well. I think I learned to be a confident driver or rider. You can use both in this case pretty soon, and that was definitely a positive. So you know what, I'm going to change my hand, which it will be a complicated operation. Wow, so almost lost control there and fell off my bike. Wouldn't that be hilarious? I don't think it would be. Yeah, I just want to change my hand because the hand that was holding the selfie stick got a bit tired. So I think these swaps will be necessary along the way. Yeah, so I also managed to caught up with some of my friends in Vietnam, which was pretty cool. Notably, Ondra, my Czech friend, visited me, and we basically did some pickleball. We played some pickleball, which is the sport that I absolutely fell in love with in Vietnam. And then it's another highlight, I would say. It's highlight number 2, because before I didn't exactly play pickleball, but now I can't imagine my life without that sport. It really took over all other sports. Now that I'm back in the Czech Republic, obviously here we don't have any pickleball courts, maybe somewhere in Prague, but that's too far for me. So here I just go running, go jogging, and occasionally ride my bicycle, and sometimes play tennis. But in Vietnam, when I go back, trust me, at least twice a week, sometimes more than that, I will be playing pickleball. Rest assured, because it's such a wonderful sport. And with Andre, we did actually play pickleball many times, and that was a good catch up. Actually, Andre lives here in Poděbrady, so he came all the way to Vietnam to visit me. I think he didn't come just to visit me, but I think I was I was on his to-do list. Yeah. So those are the main two positives. I also had a good apartment. I have to say that it was really an upgrade from what I had last time. And now I'm scared because you always tend to compare the apartments to the previous ones, don't you? And yeah, you don't want to go back on what was better, right? You don't want to sort of regress. Yeah, that's the word I could use here. You want to keep moving forward. It's not always possible in life. Sometimes you have to take 2 steps back in order to take one big leap forward, right? Remember that? So now I'm on a crossroad, so I have to be really careful. It's not a big one. It's not too busy here, but still I should be very careful, right? When you're crossing the road, or indeed when you're approaching the crossroad with your vehicle, you should definitely not be recording an episode of the Next English podcast. That is not recommended. I don't think it is, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay, so yeah, there is one a little sort of low point, I would say, of my Vietnamese adventure 2.0 or Vietnamese adventure episode or chapter 2, and that's the fact that I relapsed, ladies and gentlemen. No, I hadn't been taking drugs, not that, but unfortunately I got addicted to a computer game once again. That's something that I've talked about here on this podcast before, and maybe some of you relate to it. I don't know if you guys play computer games, but I do. I've always done it ever since I was a little boy, to be honest. I've always had a computer. I think I got my first computer at the age of about 15 or something. And then I've always played games. But I think the idea is that you stop playing when you are an adult, because you have to focus on making money and having a family and all that kind of stuff. That's what you're supposed to do. But screw that. You can do what the hell you want, right? Because we are free human beings, right? We can decide not to have a family. We can decide to play games every day if we want to. But sometimes too much is too much, you know? And I think it's a bit too much for me right now. And that's something that started in Vietnam again. Yes, I'm talking about the game called Dota. But now it's Dota 2, which I thought would be hard for me to get into because I was such a big Dota 1 player. No, when I say big, I wasn't like professional or super good, but I played it every single day for a lot of hours every day even. And it frankly helped me to get through some tough periods, some rough patches in my life. Yeah, so it did help me in some way because it was like my sort of escape. It was like my opportunity to escape from the dullness, from the gloominess of everyday life, which, you know, sometimes like we go through things that are tough, right? So in order to get over it, you need something. So people choose different things to take to, like, I don't know, whether it's drugs, alcohol. Hopefully it's something less sort of dangerous, but in my case it was always computer games, right? So yeah, it helped me, but it also took a lot of my time, right? Because if you are playing computer games and it's not really bringing you any sort of money, right? You can't really monetize it unless you're very good and you have a Twitch account or something, or I don't know, not me. But you know, like what's the value it's bringing you? What is the value it's bringing you actually? What are you creating? Not much. I would be better off just recording episodes of the Next English podcast. Yeah, but the reason you play it is because it's just so entertaining, and that's why it's addictive, right? You wanna keep playing because it's, especially Dota. So it's, I don't know if you heard about Dota, but basically it's like 5 against 5. So it's an online game, multiplayer online game. You have to defend your base and destroy your opponent's base. Speaking of which, I've recorded one episode with a friend of mine who I've been friends with for about 2 years, maybe longer than that, called Dan, and he's also a Dota player, and he lives in Da Nang, and there is an episode of the Next English podcast in the pipeline, so that will be released in the future, and that I will tell you more about Dota there. This episode is not about that. This episode is about taking stock, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So this would be my low point, the fact that I returned to the game. Yeah, so if you're wondering how I've been working, basically online. I am an English teacher, I've got my students, and that's, I would say, my main source of income. And if, by the way, you're interested in hiring me as your English teacher, I wouldn't mind doing that. Actually, some of my students come from this podcast. I've got one Slovak student who's listening to it right now. Not right now as I'm recording this. So he's not here. He's not physically here. But as you're listening to this, he's probably also listening to this because I know he likes the podcast. And I want to say hi to you, Laco, the truck driver from Slovakia. And I'm also going to visit him soon in Slovakia, which is not a place I have actually been to, which is a huge shame for someone from the Czech Republic, because we used to be one country, Czechoslovakia. How on earth haven't I ever visited Slovakia? It's mind-boggling because I've been to so many different places in the world, but I never went east of the Czech Republic, which is understandable in the case of certain countries such as Russia, who would want to go there. But it's not understandable in the case of Slovakia, because Slovaks are our brothers. Historically, we shared the same country, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing Laco, of course, and perhaps even recording an episode of Zdenek's English podcast with him. We will see. It's all open. Okay, so yeah. Well, I don't know what else I could tell you, really. I'm going down the hill right now, so I have to be a little bit more careful. Also, I have to look where I'm going, right? It's also very important. And at the same time, I have to hold the selfie stick. I have to speak to you. I have to make sense when I'm speaking to you. And it's not always easy, is it? So if I'm saying some nonsense, if I'm telling you something which is complete bollocks, utter what's the word? Kotswallop, I think it's the word, right? Then I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I can only do so much. There's a guy in front of me who is pumping his bike. I think he's got a flat tire, and that's what he's doing here. So I might be able to see him. Now that I have built it up so much, I might as well show you, right? So there. If you're watching this as a video, you saw. You can stop the video, obviously, go back to see what that guy was actually doing there. And yeah, it's a beautiful place here, by the way. Here it's like a really good cycling route, and it's through the forest. And also there's supposed to be a road on the left about 50 meters away from me. But that one is actually being repaired currently. There are works there, and that's why it's very, very quiet here, extremely quiet, especially this summer. But I'm approaching another village, where I used to play football. It was actually the first place where I played football as an adult. So I don't know if you will be able to see the pitch. I might show you a little bit of that, but yeah, those were the days. I only played here for 1 year, but still, I do remember it. I do remember. You don't forget that, right? Do you? Don't forget your first team, your first adults football team. Wow. So let's see. Yeah, guys. On the whole, I'm giving it 6 out of 10, not just because of Dota, but I think it's related to other stuff. But here's the pitch, by the way. Can you see the pitch? It's right behind me. Hang on. How can I? I'm on the road, which is the one that is being repaired. But I don't know if I can go there. I think I can. I think that's the only way to get there, because I'm actually on my way to a Vietnamese restaurant in the town of Satska, and that should take me another about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, let's say. But I have to get past this broken road, so I'm a bit uncertain as to how I should do it. But I think I'll be fine in the end. Yeah. So not just the computer game relapse. Like when you return to your bad habit, basically we use this verb to relapse. It's not just that. There are other issues. Like I feel like, basically, to put it in simpler words, I got a bit lazy, you know. I think I didn't do much, basically. I was just sort of, and I think it's the issue is that now that I work online, it's different. It's a different kind of life, right? I think whenever I did classes in a real classroom, that I was always sort of in the middle of some sort of activity, right? It was like a buzzing place full of activity. But now that I only work online, it does feel a little bit lonely. Don't get me wrong, I still have my mates, friends, and I get to see them. And even when I go to a new place, I will try to have a social life there. It's very important to me as well. You don't want to end up just living in a room, in a flat, alone. No, you want to meet people. If you're me, an extroverted person, you need it. So I will try to organize some board games, because spoiler alert, I'm gonna go to a new place this time, a new town. That is the plan anyway, in Vietnam. But first things first. So yeah, 6 out of 10, because I thought I was a bit lazy. I didn't go to the sea as much as I could. I stopped running there. I think it's because of pickleball, really. It just took over my other sports activities, because when you play pickleball for about 2 hours, I mean, when you play pickleball for about 2 hours, it does sort of make you tired enough so that you don't really want to go for a run later on. But maybe it's just about keeping balance. Maybe I could just play pickleball a little bit less and then go for a run from time to time. I don't know. Gym, I tried to go to the gym for about 2 months. Actually, no, there were 2 periods, because I also lived in Saigon, in Ho Chi Minh City for a bit. I think I've recorded an episode about that, didn't I? That was when I lived with my Vietnamese friend. I actually shared a flat with her. She rented out a room to me, and there was also a cat there. And that was cool in Ho Chi Minh City. And that's like, they had a gym there in the was that a hotel? No, it was like an apartment building. So they had a gym there and a swimming pool. So that was pretty cool. And I definitely did lots of sports there. At the time, I think I was super fit, and I also lost a lot of weight. I lost about 10 kilos, which was the plan. And speaking of weight, now that I'm back here in the Czech Republic, I have put on weight again. Why? Well, it's because of the way I eat here. I eat more cheese, I eat more fatty stuff, and the portions are bigger, and just generally the food is not as healthy as in Vietnam. And guess why I'm going now to a Vietnamese restaurant? And I think it's obvious, because I miss the food. I miss the Vietnamese food. So yeah, I put on 5 kilos in 1 month again. God damn it, but 5 kilos is actually not too bad. Last time it was 10 kilos, so I don't think I'll take it that far. because as I told you, I go running now, and I think I will keep it in check, in certain kind of balance, and then when I'm back in Vietnam, I will start doing more and more sports and eat better. So that will be great. Yeah. As I told you, I was teaching online mainly, but also I did 3 covers in an English center. Someone invited me to teach a few lessons. These were cover lessons, so I substituted. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I think I was a bit too loud, and I'm losing my voice now. So sorry about that. My voice is cracking currently. Yeah, so that was actually such a great experience, and I have to say, like, the first time I taught, I realized how much I had missed teaching face to face in a real classroom, and so that was brilliant. And maybe what I should do is to just teach a little bit, a little bit. But I have to work it out, because if I want to teach legally, like these 3 covers, it was just cash in hand. Like they just gave me the money in an envelope. When they were handing it to me, it looked like they were giving me drugs actually after each lesson. But that's like, nobody cares about 3 covers, right? The thing is though, well, I've got a spider. Why do I have a spider on my calf? It's gone now, but the thing is though, like if you want to teach, if you want to sort of sign a contract, then that's like, you have to do it in a legal way. And yeah, I don't know if I want to have a contract at the school right now, because that means I have to stay there for some time. And yeah, I prefer my own freedom. It's nice when you're an online teacher, because you're very flexible. Like, it has pros and cons, right? I can kind of do what I want. I can teach in the way I like. That's great, because I have got my own sort of beliefs of how English should be taught. And if you're wondering what they are, why don't you hire me as your teacher for maybe 1 lesson, and then see if it suits you or not, and if I can be the person that can help you move forward, because that's what I generally like to do with my students. First and foremost, right? That's the main idea here. Why don't you try for yourselves and see for yourselves? Where was I? Yeah, so, oh, by the way, I forgot, there was one more highlight. Highlights are basically like the good points, the strong points of that adventure, as I like to call it. So another highlight is that I have actually designed a new board game. That's right. No, it hasn't been published yet, but I think this one has a good chance of actually making it. Unlike the previous one, which I made way too complex. People liked it, people played it online. I've talked about this many times on this podcast. It was the game Kingdoms of Deceit, but I never made it. It sort of faded away in the end. And it still exists, but we don't play it anymore. But there's a new one which I'm making. It's a deck builder for those of you who understand board games. A little bit similar to the game called Dominion. I don't think it's that similar, but it just takes some mechanics from it. So there is a certain level of inspiration by that game, let's say. And so if you like Dominion or Clank and these kind of games, then you might like the new game I'm making. And if you do know what I'm talking about, because I can imagine that some of you have absolutely no clue what on earth a deck builder is. It's basically a card game. Let's just say it's a card game where you're building your deck, and you want to buy stronger cards in order to make your deck better. And as your deck, you basically keep drawing cards from it and playing the game with that deck. So the way you build your deck is really important for the future of that, for your sort of, for the potential success in that game. Anyway, I didn't want to explain what a deck builder is. You can Google it after all. The point is that I've made this game and I've played it with many friends of mine in Da Nang, here in the Czech Republic, and generally speaking, they are responding to it really well. I would say this game is well received by people, which makes me believe that now I have a chance. I just need to find someone who could help me design the cards. Yeah, I need to find someone that can help me with that. Perhaps I could team up with someone or promise them a certain percentage from, let's say, if the game ever gets published. I would have to do it, I would have to self-publish it on a Kickstarter, right, or something. So, or if any of you are like rich people, rich investors who would like to invest in this project, I would be happy to tell you more about it, of course. I think it has a good chance of becoming successful. Actually, I think it does. I just need to it's important to make it look nice, right? So the box has to be nice, the artwork on the cards has to look nice, because it's in life, it's all about first impressions, right? So let's say the first 5 seconds of this video, if you didn't like what I was saying, or my accent, or the way I look, or whatever, if you didn't like my cap, if you didn't like the sound, then you'd probably left already. You're probably not listening anymore, because I didn't make a good first impression on you. Generally speaking, I think I'm quite good at making first impressions, but YouTube it's a different kettle of fish on podcasts, because there's a lot of competition. So, you know, I'm under no illusions that I'm one of the best. When I say this is the best podcast in sliced bread, guys, it's a bit of banter, really. I'm exaggerating, of course. I'm blowing it out of proportion, right? Because it's just to take everything with a pinch of salt. Otherwise, if I were to take this seriously, I would be really depressed by the numbers I get here on this podcast, whether it's the audio podcast or the video YouTube channel, the video podcast. But you can always help me if you guys really like what I do. You can help me in many ways. You can share the podcast with your friends. You can like it on the YouTube channel. Just smash the like button. Click the what do you say? Hit the like button, and that will make the difference, because the algorithm will show it to more people. Also, leaving a comment makes wonders. That's actually even better. If you leave a comment, even when it's like saying hello Zdenek or thanks for the episode, it does make a huge difference, because again, the video will be shown to more people and I potentially can get more subscribers. And yeah, that's it basically. The more subscribers means that I'm closer to ever monetizing my YouTube channel, which I've never really been close enough. Although I have received several offers from various people who want to probably scam me, or they claim that they would like to increase my audience or sort of expand the channel in some way. Of course, they want me to pay them for that, which is understandable. That's what they do. They are marketers. It's their job, right? They help people with their YouTube channels. But I don't know. I don't think I'm that ambitious. But, you know, it would be nice to have a few more subscribers. So if you're one of those people who is not subscribed to the channel, please do it now. Please do it now. It's now or never. Yeah, so overall, it's good to be back, by the way, in the Czech Republic. It's always nice because I get to see my friends, my family members, you know, such as my sister, my cousin, and whoever is still alive, and yeah, catch up with them. And I don't know, it feels more special if you don't see them for a long time. You kind of more value that opportunity more, I would say. That's how I feel anyway. And yeah, I have to I'm going up the hill now, so it's gonna be a little bit harder for me to record this, so I have to focus a bit more, but I think I can do this. I can do this. You can do anything you want, guys. if you put your mind to it, you can achieve anything in life. Even if sometimes it seems like the obstacles are thrown in your way, sometimes it seems like it's impossible, but a healthy mindset will be that you can do it. Just believe it. Believing it, dreaming about it, it's making it all possible. If you don't believe it, if you don't dream it, if you don't sort of imagine yourself with that objective in hand, like with that trophy in your hand, it will always be hard for you to do it. You would have to be lucky. So part of like, why are people successful? Often it's because they had a dream. Like, of course, sometimes it's just about them being smart or lucky, but often it's about just hard work, dedication, consistency. Like me with this podcast, I've been recording this for 10 years, and now I have my own students. I think partially I owe this podcast for it, because it helped me build my sort of online persona as an English teacher, right? So I think people trust me more, and that's very, very valuable. And yeah. Okay, why am I going back to Vietnam? Good question. I have friends there, so that's one reason. Another reason is I have some suitcases there, some luggage. Actually, like at least 2 pieces of luggage. I think it's even more now. Some of it I can sell, some of the stuff there. Like there's one sort of screen. I've got a monitor there, which I can sell. That's not an issue. But some of the stuff in the luggage I don't want to sell, like my board games. So I sort of have to go back to that, right? Or I have to take it all home, which would be really annoying. But at some point I will probably have to do it. Especially, I made it. I'm on top of the hill now. Where was I? Yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted here a little bit. Now I'm going downhill. Yeah, so I don't know. I tend to be a loyal guy as well. Like I like to be in a place which is known to me. You know, it's like my comfort zone. I think it happens to most of us, right? Life is easier if you always do the same things, if you're always in the same place. But I think you must not overdo it, because there's a point at which you just don't grow anymore. There's a point at which you reach the limit, you reach your limit, you reach the plateau, and then you need to come out of your comfort zone, then you need to do something else. And I think that's the main reason why I would like to go to a new city. It's called Quignon, something like that. It was recommended to me by my friend, and it looks like a nice place, a bit smaller than Da Nang, a bit quieter. Fewer people will be able to speak English there. But ultimately, what do I need? I need to make a few friends. I still think they'll find some expats there for sure. What else do I need? I need to play pickleball, because I'm in love with that sport. And I need the Wi-Fi. And they have a good Wi-Fi everywhere in Vietnam, I'm sure, in most places. So as long as you pay for the accommodation, you know, for your rent, for everything you have to pay for, I think everybody is happy to host you. And I look forward to going there. I've got the plane ticket already. I actually bought it yesterday. So in about 1 month from now, what does now even mean? Now is the time that I am recording this, but it might not be the time you're listening to this, because sometimes I take time with publishing my episodes, and I think it won't be any different with this one. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how different this place will be from Da Nang, actually. I think I've got an idea already, but you know, I might not like it, so I'm prepared to to sort of go back if things don't work out for me there. And okay guys, I'm actually approaching the restaurant that I've been heading to, the Vietnamese restaurant. So I think it's high time I wrap this episode up. Thank you very much for listening to my ramblings. And I think I told you the most important things. You may have noticed that I'm a bit rusty when it comes to podcasting. It's because basically if you don't do something for a long time, then naturally you will not be as good as you once were when you were doing it a lot, right? So this only makes sense. But if you like what I do, don't forget to hit the like button on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. And why don't you send me an email at teachersdenek@gmail.com. Oh, by the way, I still have the Achievers Chamber, which is the group for high-level English learners. So if your level is B2 level, C1, or even C2, and you don't feel like you have enough speaking practice and you would like to be a member of a great group with like-minded individuals, like-minded English learners, and English teachers as well. We have got a few English teachers in the group from different nationalities as well. Most of them, actually all of them from Europe. We used to have a few South Americans there, but mostly people are from Europe. And yeah, you can be from anywhere really, but I think it's Europeans who generally like to join this group. So don't hesitate to contact me, and actually you can check everything on my website, which is teachersdenek.com, and see for yourself, see if that's something that would suit you. This is the restaurant that I'm going into in a second, and I can't wait to have my lunch. So thank you very much for listening, and I will speak to you soon. Cheers everyone. Bye.